Hello to all of you, thank you so much for being here again. I promised that I was going to make a video every single Friday, and this video is this week's video. I'm sorry about that. So I had a different idea for what I wanted to do today. I wanted to make some really cool content and I wanted to bring something different and special. And at this point anything is different because this channel is extremely new. This is the second video actually. But like not on my couch sitting. But you know what, the weather is awful. It's pouring like crazy here in Miami, so we're gonna leave that for another time, maybe most likely next week, so let's see what happens. So for today's video, since I had to change plans, I did make some bullet points and I have it right here in front of me on my tablet, which I can show you right now, this beautiful thing right here. And what is it going to be about? It's going to be how I got into the animation industry, what did I do to get into the animation industry, how did I pick my school, and how I knew that I wanted to become an animator at first. And this one, it doesn't have really much thought to it. Since I was, and this is going to sound maybe cliche or stupid. Actually, no, this is a particular story, so it's not going to sound any of that. So when I was 5 years old, first of all, I was born in Cuba, far from the US. And when I was a little kid, we didn't have access to a lot of media, information, or shows. And when I say shows, I'm talking about, like Oscars, the Grammys, stuff like that. People get really big prizes. But luckily for me, my dad worked for the ICAIC, and that was Industria Cinematográfica de Arte, Cine, Televisión, something like that. But what I'm trying to say right here is that he had access to stuff that people didn't have access to. So I remember that there was this time, and I have said time a lot of times, but there was this moment when somebody asked him to record the Oscars, to keep them recorded for some whatever reason. I don't remember. I was a little kid. I think it was like 4 or 5 years old, and I'm not lying about this. And we were there at the studio, just like hitting record on a video, and it was going straight to VHS. Imagine how old I was. And I remember that Catherine Zeta-Jones got the Oscar for Cabaret. I think that was the movie. And I remember everyone applauding and everyone being so happy, and Queen Latifah standing up and applauding it to her as well. And I didn't know what that was, but I saw in her face that she was extremely happy. And I was like, I want to get one of those in the future. And that was exactly what happened through my head. I want to get one of those in the future. And that same day, my mom or my dad, one of the two, I don't remember exactly which one, let me know that for animation, you could get an Oscar too. That you could get an Oscar for Best Animated Feature. And you know what? Since I was 5 years old, that has been my only dream, to be an animator, to get my Oscar. So yeah, I didn't have to go through school and find out if I wanted to do animation, if I wanted to do science and stuff like that. I always knew what I wanted to be. When I was growing up in Cuba, I started studying art, and I will say drawing, painting, art histories, stuff like that, because I thought that was going to be the way to get into animation, which in Cuba was extremely different than here in the US. But basically that is it. So how did I get into the animation, and how did I get to study animation, and what was my experience with it? So luckily for me, we moved to the US when I was 19 years old. I had just turned 19 years old. And before that, long before that, I was looking online because I knew that I was going to live in the US at some point. I was looking online at schools, and of course I saw Namon, I saw Anim School, I saw Animation Mentor. I think back then you had one that was called, you know what, right now that one is closed, so it doesn't even matter mention it. But there were some other schools that I remember looking into it, even Full Sail University, stuff like that. But the one that caught my eye the most was Naman, of course, because it was extremely, it had an extremely beautiful website. It had a website built for you to just, look at it and be like, oh, this is what I want to be. And me living in Cuba, looking at stuff online and looking at the Naman school and how it worked, of course I was like, jaw drop. So I emailed the school, I asked them what was the process, blah, 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 blah. Me and Kiva emailing a school in the US, in California. And they told me that this was they literally explained to me how the process worked. And yeah, I knew it was going to be impossible. So when I moved to the US, I started researching a little bit more, and I set my eyes on anime school, which I highly recommend, and I will tell you now why. And that was back in 2014, and I started anime school, if I'm not mistaken, in 2017, on April 2017. It took me a little bit to start it because it is not the cheapest way to study, because you have to pay it out of pocket. Right now they have different programs that you can get some loans for animations and stuff like that. But back then you have to pay $546 a month out of your pocket every single month, and that was for me a lot of money. I was making what, $10 an hour, so I was like trying to figure out if I could make it and how to make it. So when I got into anime school and on 2017, I remember feeling so excited. I was like, this is the right way. And I have to tell you, the teacher at the school, the instructors, and everyone was real super supportive. You could be emailing your instructors and professors outside school hours. And when I say school hours, you actually had 2 classes every single week. And each class would last for an hour. Normally it would be more than that. And if it was actually a critique class, it would take any time between an hour to sometimes 4 to 5 hours. But you know what? You actually learn a lot from looking at other people's getting critique, as you learn at yourself getting critiques. So I don't mind about that. I need water right now. Give me 1 second. Okay, so I actually got my water. It looks a little bit yellow because it's water and honey, just to calm the voice and calm myself. So I said that I started going to anime school, and that all the teachers, all the instructors were great, that sometimes the classes could take between an hour to 5 hours, which is total truth. Anyone from the school could tell you that. And if, by the way, your teacher was, I don't know if I can say, actually, yeah, let's actually say, because he's one of the coolest guys that I know and one of the best teachers that I know. If your teacher happened to be JL, your classes would have no time limit. They will be extremely long. And when I say extremely, it's not on a negative note. It is actually on a very positive one, because I don't think that I have dealt with someone at the school that you can learn more from than him. And I'm not being flattery. I'm just telling the truth. So you had as well extra sessions at the school that you could take. There was one called Atrium, and there was another one called General Reviews. And those were for animation and modeling, whatever you were studying, because you do have 2 different paths in anime school. You have like kind of 3 different paths. You have the modeling path, which is modeling, rigging, and stuff like that. You have the animation path, and then the animation path breaks in 2. You have game animation, and then you have feature film animation. This is one that I picked, feature film, because that's what I have always wanted to do. And that's basically how I got into the school. The school lasted, for me, I took a break because I hit a wall. I had a really bad time with myself and my own experiences, so I had to stop school. And I think, if I want to be honest with me, it took me like 22 months. But if I am not mistaken, you can finish the school in way less than that. I think it's like 16, maybe 18 months. I might be lying, but you can check the curriculum online. I'd highly recommend it. I will leave the link right here to that, I will leave the link right here to the school. So if you click right there, you'll be able to see the school YouTube and stuff like that. They have really nice showcases, both for animation and for rigging. So yeah, you should totally watch it and drop it a follow. I love those guys. I actually landed my first animation job a little bit before graduating. I want to say 2021. It was in 2021. Late 2021, maybe October or November 2021. and I was emailing a lot of people with the reel that I had with my student reel. At that time, it was really bad because I wasn't the best student in school. And but with that reel, which I consider to be really really bad, someone saw potential in it and messaged me on LinkedIn, and he was like, "Hey, we have this position available. Blah 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 blah. It's for mocha cleanup and a video game, and a comic video game that was released in 2024. I want to say, Outcast 2: A New Beginning. It was a remake. So yeah, I of course I said yes. I was really happy, so I grabbed the job right away, and even one of my teachers at school helped me negotiate the salary that I was going to get, and he went through the contract with me, and because I didn't want to get screwed up, and he was like, "Yeah, of course I'm gonna help you." That's another teacher. His name is Jesus Christ, I forgot right now, but I will put it on the video. He's one of the coolest guys that I know as well. He's really harsh with critiques, and he would tell you straight to the point, like what you have to do and what you're doing wrong. But he's one of the coolest guys that I have ever met in the industry as well. And that's how I landed my first job in animation. It was Mocha Cleanup. If you guys are familiar with that, Mocha Cleanup is a motion capture. Whenever motion capture is I want to say translated for a lack of better words, into the engine, let's say Maya, Motion Builder, Unreal, whatever. There are certain frames that you have to clean because there will be feet slidings, hands going through 3GO. Then normally the fingers are not going to be animated, so you have to take care of all of that. And I want to say that everyone that worked on that team, the company was Stellar 3D. Everyone that worked on the team was really nice to me. I was the juniors of the juniors, and there were people from all around the globe. And when I say all around the globe, I'm not lying. There were people from the U.S., there were people from France, there were people from Spain, there were people from India, Egypt. We have a lot of people. Even the one that hired me, I don't want to share the name because I don't know if that's professional or not at this point. But the one that hired me, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that he's from Hungary or something like that. So yeah, it was a really diverse team. Not because no one was trying to make it diverse, because people were looking for talent, and that's what make it diverse, which is the best part of having a diverse team for the right reasons. And yeah, I finished that animation job in 2020. I want to say late 2022, and then right after that, I got recommended by someone that I went to school with to another job, and that's how I kept working on the animation industry for a while. And what did I learn from all the experiences up to that point? So if I look back at myself, and I have to drink a little bit more water, sorry. If I look back in time and ask myself what should I have done differently, I will tell you, number one, I would focus on the process, not on the outcome. I learned a little bit late down the road, but not too late. So when I was a student, I always envisioned the show to look this way, and I would get really anxious and unsure, and I would start getting this imposter syndrome of my abilities. And the show didn't come out the way that I wanted to come out. Not for a lack of talent, for a lack of experience, but as well for a lack of learning how to control my emotions around what I was trying to do and to achieve. What would have said to me as well, I would have learned to stand my ground a little bit better, especially when negotiating your contracts, your salaries, and stuff like that. But that takes a little bit of time, and that's what you learn in the industry when you are a junior. And one thing that I actually learned from the industry that to this day I love is that the connections that you make are the most important thing in the industry. I'm not saying that if you don't get connections, you're not going to get a job. It doesn't work that way. But being kind to one another and being good with your coworkers might turn into friendships, which I have many friends right now from working in the industry. And those people will help you along the way getting jobs, and they will help you with mental health, even if if you don't think of it as a priority, but it truly is. And that's the most valuable asset that I think that you can have in the industry, and that is people. So that will be it for today. That will be it. That will be it for today's video. I would have something better next week. I would love to hear from you if you got to this point. What do you think of the video? What should I add? What should I do better? Trying to get more comfortable to camera. I actually have an image of a person right there, trying to feel some kind of human connection, but that will come naturally with time as well. So thank you so much for getting to this point, and I'll see you guys around next week.